and welcome to Geek Philosophy. Today's episode, we will be talking about, well, first, let's introduce my co-host, Clay, Don here, and today we are going to be talking about the streaming wars. So, most of you watching this are using some sort of streaming service, whether it's YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, and so forth, and you're probably watching less and less television, which is why television is about to become on life support. So we want to talk about the streaming wars and what's going to be the next generation of television and entertainment for our society and how that's being affected by not only our geek culture, but also by the business itself. And let's first talk about like the top three streaming services. Now there's plenty of streaming services out there. Again, YouTube, Facebook Watch, but there are three main ones that are being utilized right now. And that's Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. Let's get into it. Right now, it's kind of a neck and neck battle between the three, with I would say Netflix kind of being on top, and rightfully so. They were really the first ones to really make this strategy, all the way back from them having their mailing service now to going straight to TV and utilizing the internet. And let's get into a little bit of pricing. Netflix is starting at like $7.99. Now we're only going to talk about the basic packages.
Right.
We're not going to get into like some of the advanced packages or the add-ons that you can utilize. 'Cause each one of these programs or each one of these streaming services has their add-ons, which you can find value in. But basic Netflix program starts at $7.99. So and I think that utilizes like two streams.
Right.
And I think what people are really getting from that is the original content. You will see a lot of Netflix exclusive material on Netflix, and that's what people really want to go on Netflix and buy it for. So whether it's be the Stranger Things, or a new movie that's just exclusive for Netflix, or a new comedy special, which I'm seeing they're doing a lot of.
Right. I think they might actually be outpacing Comedy Central or some of those with the comedy specials. Big name.
Yeah, big name, and we're seeing that even with the big names, they're using big money to do so too. Mm-hmm. And then you have Hulu, which is sort of like the best way I can say it is a millennial DVR.
Right.
Like as soon as the next day, if you want to miss a show, you don't feel like doing it because we all have busy lives. You can catch it the next day on Hulu, which is great for the fast, up-paced millennial, and even for some of the older generation that just doesn't want to watch 5 shows at one time. Mm-hmm. So Hulu starts at like $7.99 with commercials, $11.99 without commercials. Is their starting package, and I don't think they have a minimum. Or I want to say they might have like 2 streams.
I think it is 2 streams. They and way back when they first started,
it was Wild Wild West.
And it was free. You could if you had those if you had to watch the ads, then you got that service for free. And then they kind of bumped things up and started stepping up some of their original programming. But I'd say out of the 3 major, in my opinion, Hulu probably has the weakest.
In the original content, yes. But again, they have like your Fox, your NBC. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't catch it that day, you can automatically get it the next day, and sometimes a little bit faster than the cable service providers' own streaming services, which is a little weird. Then you have Amazon for $9.99 right now. They are looking to increase it by about 20%. So for Amazon Prime users, you're going to see a bigger bill within the next year or so.
And that's if you pay the annual fee. If you go down to paying monthly, you're going to pay even more. But yeah, I think it starts. They're now approaching that same price you'd be paying for the others, which it hurts as the consumer having a 20% increase in 1 year. I wish that they would kind of stagger that out a little bit, especially when they're posting record numbers. But at the same time, when you split it all up, and see what you're paying on average per month, and you compare it to Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, I think it's like $91 a month. So. It's not completely out of range of all the other streaming services, but I think mostly what they're better at is movies. they're getting those Oscar-nominated movies, those some of the blockbuster hits on there a little bit faster. And then at the same time, you can get free shipping, 2-day shipping right after with it. So it's a dual purpose with Amazon, which is great as Amazon is becoming a lead player in the e-commerce game. And they're realizing it to the point where they're making grocery stores where you can just go in and shop and then swipe your phone and then bam, you're getting charged onto your Amazon account instead of whipping out your card. To the point where you don't even have to wait in line for a register. Like some of the stuff that Amazon's about to do is going to be amazing, but I think sometimes they're getting a little big. They're getting a little too big.
We'll see if it's able to take off. Then I don't know. Some of the things I think might be a bit of a reach, and they really put in a lot of effort into like the Fire Stick and some of their hardware, Kindle and all that. And I've never been a big fan of it. If I can just buy if you can buy a Nexus tablet or an iPad, some core product, and then still get the same service, then why would I buy Amazon's hardware?
Yeah. When it's mostly exclusive just to Amazon, that's what really throws you off. Even though Amazon can almost offer you anything, there still needs to be a variety, and that's just what Amazon structure is not offering at the moment. But those are the three main ones. And again, each one has their own unique thing. So you have Netflix with the original content. You have Hulu with the DVR, pretty much a millennial DVR without the DVR hardware. And then you have Amazon with the movies. I mean, what do you think? I mean, at this point, we're seeing that Netflix is spending a little bit more money to get that more consumers in, which I'm still a little boggled on how much they get in with that. I know they kind of controlled it now with the whole different packages give you more streams, but I feel like everyone shares the Netflix password.
Well,
I'm whispering because I don't want everyone to know.
But they've even said it. They've said it's okay to share passwords. I mean, they give you those. What I think with mine, I pay for the Ultra HD streaming. I get 4 streams, so I have 4 different accounts, and there's a bit of a trade off with family members where my father pays for Hulu, I pay for Netflix. We trade passwords, and as long as I don't think they're losing out on anything until you get to a point where if you're sharing your password with 10 people. And so people are going to not be able to watch, because somebody else is watching.
That's the reality, though. I think in certain households there are about 10 people sharing this, and because I've ran into it, not able to do it, go on to another streaming service.
But that ends up being more of an inconvenience just to you, the consumer, if you can't watch what you're paying for because your kid in the other room is watching something. Once you split that stream up, I don't really think they're losing out on anything.
I mean, well, the numbers are showing they ain't losing out. So
no.
They're definitely the one that's high ranked right now, and I think they're the one that everyone wants to beat. So they're definitely the top contender at this moment.
And they're the original too. I mean, I know. For instance, I've been a Netflix subscriber since the day they launched on the Xbox 360. So I think that was maybe 2007, 2008, somewhere around in there. They launched the app, and I signed up for the it was like $6.99, $7.99, whatever it started at originally, and back then you got streaming and a DVD in the mail one at a time. Yeah. And then they slowly erased the DVD from that base package.
I mean, that was for them. That was more cost than anything. Like, I'm pretty sure they were getting more views and more streams off their streaming service, and the DVD thing was just slowly dying out.
Right. Really. And then there for a while, they picked up a lot of big Hollywood movies. They've started backing away from that as they've really, I would say drastically, but here lately it's been a pretty sharp increase in their own original programming, movies, movies especially. They've been doing a lot of different series their own way for a while, but the movies they really
they're enlisting veteran actors to up their tank. I just saw the movie with Lucy Liu and Taye Diggs.
The one with the office romance thing. Yeah.
Which again, it's a Netflix movie. I'm not paying a lot of money for Netflix already. So as long as I get my certain amount of movies a month, I'm making my money back, and you get to Netflix and chill with your wife, and bam, done.
Sure.
So,
but I think Netflix is doing a great job with that. We'll see. We're at another stage of the evolution at this point because we have to figure out. Netflix seems to be doing away more and more with everything that's not their programming. So that does kind of force those of us.
Either that or they're buying programming because they're like, I'm an anime, and we'll talk more about anime on this channel. Trust me, my otakus, you're going to get anime content. But the Seven Deadly Sins, Natsu Tanzi, it's streamed in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's owned by a Japanese company, but they bought the rights to make it one of their originals in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily their own original programming, but they're the only ones able to stream it in the United States. So they throw that Netflix original smack dab on there.
And they've done that a lot too with British companies, BBC and Sky TV and all those, bringing over British shows that they're labeled as Netflix originals. It's also as a Star Trek fan, it's really frustrating for me that literally everybody else in the world that's a Netflix subscriber gets Star Trek Discovery, except for the United States. If you're in the U.S., you have to pay for CBS All Access. I'm sure it's a great show. I'll figure it out at some point, but I don't know. CBS All Access has not convinced me yet that I need to pay for yet another. In my case, it would be a fourth streaming service if you're not counting my TV service that I pay for too.
No, and that gets us into how is television networks and television adapting to the streaming service, because we're seeing that people are walking away from cable services now.
Mm-hmm. Well, for instance, me, I just turned 31 and I have never put a dime into cable.
So me, I was an avid cable person.
Mm-hmm.
My wife would be like, "Why are we paying for cable?" And I'd be like, "Because we need it." And I was under the impression I needed it so bad, and I cut it out. And I'm like, "Wait, I really don't need it.
Right.
I have everything else. All my other streaming services are there." And then we're seeing YouTube and Sling TV come out to really compete.
Right, and there are a few others. I know PlayStation has their own thing, and
PlayStation
View, DirecTV or
DirecTV now with AT&T is doing something. So
Sling
there's other streams.
Sling is Dish Network, I think, that owns them.
Yeah.
But YouTube TV and Sling are definitely the big ones right now. I would say Sling is the biggest out of all of them, but they were the original too.
Yeah.
That's really taking on a whole new era in that sort of technology that we haven't seen before, and I think it's a great thing for consumers. But me personally, I started off with Sling TV the month that they launched. There was a lot of issues with the app at the time. I had a Nexus player, and things just didn't quite work right. The on-demand backlog wasn't there. My wife's a teacher, so we started that for just a summer just to see how it would go. I think we only kept it for a month or two. Then we brought it back up. They had drastically improved the interface, the app and everything, but we just don't watch enough. When you factor in Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, we have those.
No, you're getting to a cost analysis in the household, and right. I think as the economy and so forth, even though unemployment and everything is great, but we're still counting how many cents we're paying for things, and we're trying to quantify it to make sure we're getting the most bang for our buck. So if I can get everything I watch on cable, if I can get all that on Hulu for $7.99 versus the $130 or $150 with my with my cable provider, then I'm like, all right, let me save some money.
Yeah, well, that's when I looked at internet plus cable. It was probably going to be between $130 and $150, or I could just get internet, pay for those a la carte packages with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, and I'd be spending maybe $50 for internet, $60 for internet, and then tack on maybe an extra $20 or $30 on top of that, and no contract, because if I'm going with that $130, $150 cable package, then I have to sign up for a year or two, and it's just not something. The price
is going to go up after that year or two.
Exactly, and then you got to call and you got to argue and all these things that I've heard my parents do over the years. At that year or two cycle where I got to call Comcast or Verizon. I don't want to have to deal with that, and now we don't. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
So I know that's definitely hurting some of the pockets of our cable providers, but they still have the internet, and I think that's where the net neutrality and so forth really come into play. So for our cable providers and so forth, they don't want net neutrality. I strongly feel they don't want it because they want to be able to get some of that margin they're missing back. But as a consumer, like we need net neutrality as much as possible.
Right.
Which brings us to our next, like YouTube really coming into the ring now and being a contender. Now what they have in live TV, YouTube TV, you can get a lot for that $40.
Definitely. So that's what after we had Sling TV when it first came out. We picked it up for another month or two, maybe a year or so later, and then we're in Richmond, Virginia. In Richmond, YouTube TV launched. I think it was in April or May, something like that. So with my wife being a teacher again, we're coming up on that time. I decided to pick that up as a package. She wants to watch her shows for the summer. I'm a big rugby fan. The nice thing about what we found that we liked about YouTube TV, not only was the interface better and the rollout was done a little better, but you have way more sports packages and everything. Instead of having to, if you're looking for just a very basic package, go with Sling and then you can tack things on. But if you want to tack more than a few things on, then you realize that price starts to climb.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at, I think it's the $40 for YouTube TV is better if you already want those sports packages. I'm not really a big sports guy outside of college basketball and professional rugby, but that's what I wanted to watch. Right now, the MLR Major League Rugby is going on, so I'm watching that on a weekly basis. And chances are I'll probably let it go after the end of the summer, after July and August.
And YouTube has the whole no contract thing going on, so you're not signing up for a contract. You pay for what you get. And a YouTube, I think this is extra. Nothing's extra money. You always want to see more on your bottom line because it is costly to have new systems and that's more servers that has to be utilized. That's more employees that have to use it. So you still want to get a return on your investment. But I think YouTube, where it's at being like almost the second biggest, it's the second biggest search engine. Like if you can't find it on Google, which mostly if you go on Google, it's going to take you to a YouTube video on how to do it anyway. And then YouTube being the next one, you're going to go to search something on how to do something or find out something. You're already using YouTube. You might as well go ahead and use YouTube TV. It's almost there. They're making themselves, they're almost to the point where they're making themselves the Walmart of the internet.
Right. And I guess I should add too that if you one other advantage that YouTube TV has currently is if you sign up for YouTube TV, you get access to what they're currently calling YouTube Red.
Yes.
Original content. But I think I just got an email the other day. I think they're changing it to YouTube Premium, which makes way more sense. I don't know who was in charge of naming that, but if you know certain things on the internet, you know that YouTube Red could be easily confused with another website that you wouldn't necessarily want to have it confused with. Yeah. So we won't go there, but the whoever named that was not.
No, but YouTube Premium is a lot safer.
Right.
But again, the streaming wars is really impacting how we're living, to the point where the companies are now trying to look forward into the future and see what's doing best. We as a comic book channel, DC Universe coming out potentially in August is a big play. I mean, one of the biggest petitions out in the geek community was Young Justice having a third season because it didn't do justice on Cartoon Network. Cartoon sales weren't where it was. It was more for a young adult environment versus kids, where Cartoon Network, even though I do not agree with some of the reboots and some of the animation styles they're choosing, it's better for kids and it's better for toy sales. And if it's better for the things that's really helping them generate money, it's better for the network. So, yeah, Young Justice wasn't really best for Cartoon Network. I almost thought they should have put it on Adult Swim for a good bit to keep the series going, but they decided not to invest in it anymore, and a worldwide petition went out, and geeks all over asked for a third season. Now we're getting a complete new streaming service out of that, where they're going to increase it with Swamp Thing, Titans, Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol. So now we're starting to see DC take another turn with their television service and get some of the more D-list characters their own television. So great to see, and then be able to add other content. And then you have Walt Disney really trying to figure out where their scope is. I mean, as someone with so much intellectual property out there, I know if they really went out there and provided a streaming service, they would make their money.
Definitely.
I think there's plenty of little children out there that want to see the Disney princesses or their Disney heroes out there, no matter what. And let's face it, when our kids want something, as parents, we do try to provide it, as long as it's reasonable.
Right. We'll have to see too. I know Netflix, maybe not so much as of late, but Netflix and the other providers, streaming providers, have this habit of going in and scooping up shows after they get canceled and picking them up. And I know with something like Gotham. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who may or may not be a Gotham fan, Gotham currently airs on Fox. They just finished their 4th season. They did get renewed for a 5th season, but they made a point of saying a 5th and final season. And this 5th season is only going to be a half-season run, 10 episodes. And I'm a really big Gotham fan. I really haven't. I don't normally watch CW, so I haven't really. Not that I wouldn't watch those shows, but I don't keep up with them and have not. But with Gotham, I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. But it makes me wonder if maybe we'll see a DC streaming service or Netflix even pick up Gotham and see where we go.
Well, we did see Netflix picked up Lucifer,
which is strange to me because I'm not a fan of that show.
I'm not a fan of it, but it is DC property,
right?
And there was a fan base out there,
mm-hmm.
and we kind of seen the same thing with Constantine. Constantine was kind of did its one season and then got kind of shut down, and then there was an outcry for the fans
mm-hmm.
to get it back in. So now we're about to see John Constantine on Legends of Tomorrow, which we will be having a review on all the CW shows this week because Supergirl finally just ended. Just so long. But it really opens the door for a lot of possibilities. I mean, this whole Disney merging with Fox, a lot of it is really to start their streaming service, to get all their content and additional properties and put their own streaming service out there. And that's why Comcast is really fighting it, because Comcast wants that streaming service too.
Right. And they know that if they lose out on that, that's even more people that aren't going to be subscribing to anything Comcast related, whether it be a cable package or a streaming service or what have you.
So I know originally I said that, Comcast is just pulling goats. They don't really want anything. But after looking and researching, they really do want to make sure Disney doesn't want it. So their $65 billion bid that they just put out there, it hurt Disney because, one, their stock went down because just from that announcement, not by a lot, but about like 1% stock decrease because they have potential to lose that bid. And I think their bid was mostly stock options too. A good chunk was stock options.
Yeah.
While Comcast did a straight cash offer. Which, let's face it, in business, cash rules. Oh, okay, cash doesn't rule. Cash sounds good, but if I go with Disney and they're giving me stock options, and I know just from this merger, that stock option is going to increase by 10, 20%. I've made more money than what my original bid really was.
Sure, yeah.
So that's a way for Fox, if Fox wanted to do it, to keep getting money.
Right.
So Fox has a tough decision. Again, there is a $1 billion penalty if they back out with Disney, but nothing has been said as of now. Well, we will try to keep you up to date on what's going on with that. But I think that's where we really stand with streaming wars. It's going to be an interesting couple more years, because even with Disney doing this merger, it's going to take a year to 2 years for it to even settle, the dust to really settle, and then another year. And during that time, you'll probably see a streaming service.
Right. And we have to figure out, too, is with that merger, is Disney going to take over Hulu and make that their service? Are they going to keep Hulu and keep their what will be a majority share in Hulu and start their own competing service. How that's going to work out. From a personal standpoint and from a consumer, and how it'll affect my wallet. The only streaming services that are either currently in place or coming up that appeal to me is I'd be interested in seeing what Disney offers. If it's not Hulu, I'd consider it. And I'd also consider DC streaming service. But if I'm tacking that on top of Amazon, Hulu, and Netflix, and YouTube TV, if I have that, that starts adding up quickly. So they really have to show me that there's a reason why I should buy the product.
And with AT&T now purchasing Time Warner, that is going to play into the whole DC universe. I don't think it's going to affect it the first year, but later down the line, I think it's going to affect it. And there was one more thought I had. There's another part to Disney streaming service, because they do have sort of a duality. They have a very kid-friendly side, and then they've created a different universe where it is more adult-oriented. Like the Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. These are all Disney properties. We can't ignore that. But they're not made for kids. So it could be making a dual service, like keep Hulu for the adults. Like go ahead and take your stuff off of Netflix and be like, hey, you can get all your stuff on Hulu. But I think Hulu has to change their format because they still do that week by week. There's a lot of things, even Runaways. I think they should just went ahead and do all of them all episodes on one day.
Right.
And I think I'll tell you right now, after doing that with Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and so forth, I can't do it week to week.
Enable our binge watching addiction. I mean, I'm the same way. Now when I go back to weekly shows, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to go ahead and watch them all at one time. So.
But those are our thoughts. Tell us what you think. Put your philosophies down below in the comments. And again, thanks for watching Geek Philosophy, Geek Way of Thinking. Have a great day, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for stopping by Geek Philosophy. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, put your philosophies in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of all future videos. Thanks for stopping by Geek Philosophy, the Geek Way of Thinking.